Hello! Welcome to Squid Essays. Inking your academic pen. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through Great Gatsby essay. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at Squid Essays. The link is in the description. This quarter I read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The Great Gatsby is a fiction novel published in 1925. It takes place in New York, 1922 and follows the story of a great man named Gatsby. Although Gatsby is the main character, the book is in perspective and supposedly written by Nick Carraway, a friend of Gatsby. This novel has a very developing storyline that hits all kinds of moods, happy, sad, and mysterious. The main character of this story is J. Gatsby, whose real name is actually James Gatz. Gatsby is a very wealthy man. He has a huge mansion and hosts great parties that attract very famous and respected individuals. Gatsby's unregistered trademark's fortune is a mystery to everyone. He tells different people different stories. Gatsby starts this story as a very smooth and intelligent man, who has seemed to have done great things in life. As the story ends, Gatsby starts to lose his suave behavior because he has lost the one he loves. Gatsby does the right thing towards the end of the story when he realizes that Daisy will not be in his life. Gatsby decides to take a swim in his pool, which he has never done before. I think this symbolizes him letting go of his dream to be with Daisy, which makes it okay for him to die. I can relate to Gatsby in the sense that he does everything he possibly can to win over one girl. I think that shows true ambition, which I see a lot of in myself. Other characters in this novel include Nick Carraway, Tom and Daisy Buchanan, Jordan Baker, and George and Myrtle Wilson. Nick Carraway is the narrator of the story. He is a wholesome young man who is fascinated by Gatsby and becomes one of his greatest friends. Nick meets Jordan Baker, a famous golfer, and dates her for some time. Daisy Buchanan is the woman that Gatsby is in love with, but she is married to Tom Buchanan. Tom Buchanan is a successful man who is determined to not let Gatsby get in the way of his marriage, although Tom is seeing someone else, Myrtle Wilson. Myrtle is married to George. They own a car maintenance shop. Myrtle ends up dying at the hands of Daisy, but Gatsby takes the blame and is later killed by George Wilson. The setting of this story is in the heart of the Roaring '20s. It takes place in New York City and Long Island, in the summer of 1922. The author really produces a visual scene when describing Gatsby's unregistered trademark's parties and his mansion. It has helped me to understand the glamour of this time period. On one particular day in the story, it is the hottest day of the summer. This is also the day that the climax of the story takes place in. I think that the author unregistered trademark's description of the heat added a very dramatic and relatable effect to the story and scene. It was very exciting to picture New York City and some of its residents in the time period. I think the author shows the reader a few different themes and meanings in his story. One of these themes is the spirit of the '20s. I think the author really wanted to show the reader the true glamour and style of the '20s. During this time period, everyone unregistered trademark's goal was to fulfill the American dream. In this story, Gatsby both fulfills and does an unregistered trademark to fulfill the American dream. Yes, Gatsby is popular and wealthy, and the talk of the town, but he does an unregistered trademark to have the love of his life, and his fortune was created through scam and illegal distribution of alcohol, which does an unregistered trademark to show to be impressive. I think that the main theme of this story is about the consequences of your past while aspiring for the future. Daisy is in love with Gatsby and his fortune, but the fact that he is a bootlegger does not impress her enough to be with him. This story has encouraged me to strive towards a life with meaning and happiness within myself. The Great Gatsby starts with Nick Carraway, who has recently moved to New York and is neighbors with Gatsby. One night, Nick visits with his cousin Daisy and her husband Tom Buchanan. There he meets Jordan Baker, which he later has a romance with. During his time spent with the three of them, Nick learns that Daisy is unhappy in her marriage and that Tom is seeing another woman. When Nick gets home that night, he sees Gatsby standing in his Gatsby unregistered trademark S. Yard, staring off a green light, which is the Buchanan home. This moment in the story is an example of symbolism, since Gatsby is not aware yet that that is where Daisy lives. Nick becomes good friends with Tom and later meets his girlfriend, Myrtle Wilson, and stays for a party at their apartment on night in New York City. Eventually, Nick gets invited for the first time to one of Gatsby unregistered trademark S parties. There he sees Jordan Baker and spends most of his night with her. He is later introduced to Gatsby, who shows courtesy and charm to Nick. They become friends. One day when Nick meets with Jordan and Gatsby, he becomes aware of Gatsby unregistered trademark S love for Daisy. Nick agrees to have Daisy over for tea with Gatsby. When that day comes, it is clear that Gatsby and Daisy are still in love and they begin their affair. Gatsby gives up his parties and house servants because Daisy does not approve. I believe the climax of this story to be the very hot summer day where Gatsby makes his confrontation to Tom Buchanan. Nick, Jordan, Daisy, Tom, and Gatsby all rent a suite in a hotel in New York City. This is where Gatsby proclaims his love for Daisy and Daisy tells Tom she never loved him. Tom tries to sell Gatsby out by revealing his ways of obtaining his fortune. Daisy gets upset and admits to the lie she told Tom. Daisy and Gatsby drive home together and on their way, Daisy hits and kills Myrtle with Gatsby unregistered trademark S car. Tom and the others see the accident on their drive home, but they are not aware that it was Daisy who killed Myrtle, because Gatsby takes the blame. Daisy decides to stay with Tom and leave Gatsby be. Meanwhile, Tom tells Myrtle unregistered trademark S husband, George, that it was Gatsby who killed his wife. George finds Gatsby and shoots him while Gatsby is enjoying himself in his swimming pool. Nick, being Gatsby unregistered trademark S best friend, is left to deal with the funeral. He tries desperately to get people to come to Gatsby unregistered trademark S funeral, but no one will. Gatsby unregistered trademark S dad is the only one who shows, and he shares memories of Gatsby with Nick. At the beginning of this story, Nick Carraway did not approve of Gatsby unregistered trademark S doings, but as the ending resolves, Nick greatly admires Gatsby and the man he was. I enjoyed reading The Great Gatsby. The first time reading this book from cover to cover, it was just a story, but as I wrote this essay and evaluated the characters, I saw so much more meaning behind it. I like that this book was not cheesy in any sense, and that it takes a talented reader to fully understand its concept. It was challenging at times, and I had to read it slowly, but it paid off. The story unregistered trademark S ending was great. It was sad that Gatsby died, but it was an inevitable event, considering the fact that Gatsby spent his life trying to impress the one girl he loved, who in turn, turned him down. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about Great Gatsby essay as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at Squid Essays for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.